Welcome back. We are now doing lesson 27. I'm with Sharon-Rose again, and she'll be my navigator, and I'll be the driver. And in this lesson, we learned how to modify our namespacing structure to accommodate an API for JSON data responses, and we also improved our course model by allowing users to join specific courses without needing to change pages. Like we showed last time, you can see that model from anywhere, and you can join courses now from anywhere. And through the AJAX request and API endpoints we created, more of our application's functionality can move to a single page and away from individual views for each action. So the first thing that we want to do in this lesson here is that we actually want to apply an API namespace, right? And we are going to do that by first creating an API routes folder. And in this API routes folder, we are going to import express and our courses controller. And in that, we are going to add the API route to the express.js router, right, with this line right here. And then we are going to add API, right? So let me make this larger so we can be seen. Yes, through this line, we are actually using that API router, and then here we are importing and adding that API error handling middleware, and then we are exporting the module as a whole, right? And after that, we are going to add JSON responses for courses in our courses controller JS file. So in our respond.json function here, we are going to handle the request from previous middleware, and we're going to submit that response if we have the HTTP status of 200 OK, and we're going to respond with the response's local data in JSON format right here. And then we are going to respond with in the error JSON function, we're going to respond with the 500 status code, right? So this is the internal server error, and that is the error message that would display if there's an error with the JSON format that we are using, right? And that is our those are the actions, the functions that we have that we're adding for our JSON. And then now we are going to be modifying our AJAX call in our recipe app.js file. So if I go to recipe app, this is the same function that we had in the last lesson. However, we now have an add join button listener in our model here, and after everything we are going to have a promise here to call this function, right, when you click on the button that we added, which is the join button. And as you can see, we have that button here, and the text within that button is going to say join, and we have a ternary operator here, and we are going to check whether the user that is viewing that modal, whether they logged in or not. And if they are not logged in, right, it's going to change that button text to try again, right, from join to try again. But then also we have this ternary operator here to check if the user has already joined the course or not. If they have joined the course, it's going to show joined, but if they haven't, the button text will be joined, right? And when they click it, it will obviously change to joined, and everything else is the same as before. Then now we are going to add a button in our recipe app. It's this one here that we're adding with a a promise, and this is what it's supposed to look like after we are done, but I'm going to display that. And then after that, we are going to create an API endpoint to connect our models, and all of that is going to be happening in courses controller. It's going to be controlled by this join action here, this join function, which firstly what it does is that we we retrieve the course with its ID from the parameters, right, from the URL, and then also we check the user sending that request, right? And if the user is the current user, we are going to add the join action to let the user join the course, and then we're going to get the course ID and current user from that request, right? And we're going to use that information to check whether a current user is logged in or not, and then we're going to update that user's courses field to contain the targeted course, right? And then after everything, we are going to respond with a JSON object with a success indicator, right? And then we if there's an error, right? If there's an error, we are going to respond with the JSON object with an error indicator, and we are going to pass an error through to the next middleware function, right? And so lastly, what we are going to do is add an action to filter the courses in our course controller, right? It's this function here, the last function we have. And what we do in this function is modify our course data to add a flag indicating users association here, right? And then we are going to check whether the course exists in the user courses array, and then if it doesn't exist, we basically just gonna move on to the next middleware. So going to the browser now, we have our web application here. I'm just gonna refresh. We have a web application here, and as you can see, I am not logged in as any of the users, and I click on this button here. These are the buttons that we spoke of, and this is the button text. It says join because I haven't joined any courses because I'm not logged in, and when I click join, it's gonna say try again because I'm not logged in, and then I can log in as one of the users right in our database. And then after I've logged in, I go back here, and as you can see, there's already courses that I've joined, and it tells us that I've joined these courses here, and this one I haven't joined it. It says join, so if I click it, it's going to say joined now because now I've joined all of them. So that is all for lesson 27. Thank you very much. Bye bye.